Have you ever awakened from a dream with a peculiar feeling in your chest, as if someone had passed through, touched something deep within you, and vanished before you could glimpse their face? You try to recall the details, but only that presence lingers. That silent weight, that longing for someone you may not have truly known, or who departed long ago. If this has happened to you, pay close attention to what I share now, because this feeling is not random. It is not merely emotion, it is a sign. And today, on March 25th and 26th, this signal has reached its peak for a specific group of individuals, people who carry something most cannot perceive, people who were chosen even before understanding their purpose. I'm speaking of you, and I'm speaking of your grandfather. Stay with me until the end, because what I will reveal here may be the missing piece that helps you understand why your life is the way it is, why certain things defy explanation, why you feel made for something greater yet still don't know precisely what. Let's begin with a direct question. Do you remember your grandfather? You didn't need to be close. You didn't need a deep relationship, long conversations, childhood embraces. Sometimes the most powerful inheritance comes precisely from relationships that seem silent, distant, incomplete. From figures who sat quietly in the corner of the room, observing everything with a gaze that seemed to see beyond what others could perceive. He was the kind of man who didn't need to speak much. When he opened his mouth, everyone paused. He carried a quiet authority, a dignity unrelated to wealth or social standing. It came from within, something cultivated in silence, in the early hours, in prayers nobody witnessed, in struggles he faced alone and never turned into drama. You likely don't know half of what he lived through, and that is the central point here. Because what you don't know about him is alive within you now. Let me introduce a concept that will change how you understand your own story. Science calls it epigenetics. Spirituality calls it anointing inheritance, legacy of faith, transmission of calling. Attention, you need to prepare now. I put together an exclusive resource for those who feel set apart for something greater, but live surrounded by noise, distractions, and mental overload. This is a 30-day journey that will transform your life. A guided path to armor your mind and prepare for what's coming with daily practices of focus, boundaries, and discipline. Stop negotiating with the noise. Learn to spot distractions before they control you, and strengthen your mind. Also available in an immersive audio version. Over 10 Zuru readers have already transformed their lives through the 30-day journey. Thousands of people have already started this transformation. People like you who are tired of living in the fog. Ordinary people who decided to stop accepting mental chaos. Take advantage of this limited time offer only this month. Access your link just below in the pinned comment. They are speaking of the same thing using different languages. Epigenetics is a field of biology that discovered something revolutionary in recent decades. The experiences our ancestors lived through, traumas, victories, faith, perseverance, fear, courage, leave marks on the cells. Marks that are transmitted genetically to children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Consider this. Your grandfather endured things you can scarcely imagine. Most men of his generation carried internal wars that never became dinner-table conversation. Losses that had no space to be wept. Faith that needed to be lived privately because the world around them couldn't comprehend it. Each of these experiences left a mark, and that mark is in your DNA. When you feel that inexplicable sense that you were made for more, when you have dreams that seem to belong to an era not your own, when you react to situations with a resilience whose origin you cannot pinpoint, this is not coincidence. It is active inheritance. The seed he planted is germinating within you now. But here is where I need to go deep with you, because there is a difference between inheritance that sleeps and inheritance that awakens. Most people carry their ancestors' legacy unconsciously. They repeat the same patterns without understanding why. They feel that familial weight without naming it. They live with a chronic sense that there is something more, something greater, waiting for them, yet never truly activated. And so life passes, years slip away, and the legacy remains latent, like a buried treasure nobody retrieved. March 25th and 26th hold special meaning in spiritual cycles that many traditions recognize as activation portals. I am not speaking of superstition. I'm speaking of windows in time when the spiritual dimension and the physical dimension become more porous, more permeable, when what was awaiting the right moment finally finds the opening to manifest. And for the chosen ones, people selected to carry and fulfill missions transcending a single generation, these dates act as a trigger. You did not arrive here today by accident. Now, I want to ask you something personal. I want you to pause for a moment and truly think. Have you ever been overcome by a strong emotion without any apparent reason? A sadness without context? A longing without a face? A joy that seemed to come from afar? Have you dreamed of places you never visited, yet felt familiar? Of people you don't know, but who carried a presence you recognized? Have you felt in certain moments, especially in moments of prayer, silence, contemplation, that you were not alone? That there was a presence beside you that wasn't frightening but welcoming? These are the signs. These are the echoes of spiritual inheritance reaching you. Your grandfather may have passed on, but the anointing he cultivated has no fixed address. It is not confined to matter. It follows the bloodline, the thread of purpose, the divine thread connecting one generation to the next, and it seeks the vessel ready to receive it. And something within you is ready now, or you would not be here. I will share a pattern I observe repeatedly in the stories of those called chosen ones. And as I share, I want you to notice how many points resonate with your own life. The first pattern is misunderstood solitude. From an early age, you felt different from your peers, not arrogantly, but lonely. You saw things from an angle others didn't. You felt what others didn't feel, and often this was more a burden than a privilege. The second pattern is inexplicable protection. You went through situations where things clearly could have gone very wrong, and they didn't. It wasn't luck. It was something you might not know how to name, but it was there, an invisible hand, an intervention without logical explanation. The third pattern is cycles of preparation. Your life passed through intense phases of breaking, loss, rebuilding, periods where everything fell apart so something greater could be constructed. You didn't understand it at the time, but looking back, you can see the guiding thread. The fourth pattern is silent authority. There is a quality in you that people perceive even when you do nothing to stand out. A presence, a depth, a weight in your words that makes people pause and listen, even if you don't yet know how to use this consciously. And the fifth pattern, pay close attention to this, is the connection to the ancestor. A grandfather, a grandmother, someone in the lineage who carried something special and whom you feel as a reference, even if the relationship was distant or ended too soon. How many of these patterns belong to you? If you are over 35 and are here, I want to speak directly to your generation, because there is a very specific context for those who grew up in America during the 70s, 80s, and 90s. You grew up in families where feelings weren't discussed, where spirituality was a Sunday morning church affair, not a daily conscious practice, where elders carried their secrets and pains with pride, not from coldness, but because life had taught them that. The grandparents of this generation lived through wars, economic hardship, migration from rural towns to big cities, building a life from scratch under conditions most of you will never know. They didn't have access to therapy, personal development, sophisticated spiritual language, but many of them had faith. A raw, direct, Unadorned faith. The faith of those who have nothing left but God. The faith of those who rise before the sun and offer a prayer nobody will see, yet one that moves mountains. That faith was the most powerful anointing they could leave you, and it did not leave when they departed. There is a concept in spiritual tradition called the merit of the fathers. The idea is that the good deeds, genuine faith, cultivated character of ancestors creates a protection and a spiritual opening that benefits descendants for generations. This is not folklore. It is a profound understanding of how the spiritual and generational realms intertwine. When your grandfather spent hours in silence, that silence others might have called introversion or melancholy, he was cultivating something. When he resisted what could have destroyed other men, he was accumulating something. When he chose, in moments of extreme pressure, to do the right thing even when the wrong thing would have been easier, he was depositing something into a spiritual account that bears your name. And the interest on that deposit is maturing now. But here, I need to be very honest with you, because this is not only to make you feel good, it is to awaken you to a responsibility. Spiritual inheritance is not passive. You do not receive a legacy like receiving a financial inheritance, where money lands in the account and that's it. Spiritual inheritance requires conscious activation. It requires you to recognize what is being transmitted and make the decision to carry it with intention. Because just as anointing can pass from generation to generation, patterns of brokenness can too. Unresolved traumas, silent vows of limitation, unconscious agreements with defeat, all these are also transmitted epigenetically, and chosen ones often carry both simultaneously: the legacy of greatness and the weight of patterns that need to be broken. The question is not only, what good did my grandfather leave me? The deeper question is, what needs to stop within me so the best of him can flourish through me? Let me give you a practical example. And as I share, I want you to think of your own family. Imagine a man born in a small southern town in the 1940s, son of farmers, never went beyond the 5th grade, worked from the age of 7, migrated to Chicago or New York as a young man, with no money, no connections, nothing but the strength of his hands and a faith he learned from his mother. That man built a family, raised children. Perhaps he couldn't easily say, "I love you," because in his culture, love was shown through work, through food on the table, through silent sacrifice. But it was real. It was deep. It was a form of love few today have the capacity to sustain. That man prayed, perhaps simply without elaborate liturgy, but with a sincerity that moved the spiritual realm. And at some moment in his life, he made a total surrender, conscious or not, that his children and grandchildren would be different, that they wouldn't have to go through what he went through, that something in them would be greater. That man is your grandfather, or he resembles him closely, and his prayer remains active. Now I want to speak about the confirmation signs arriving for the chosen ones in this specific season, because it is no accident that you are feeling what you are feeling in recent days or weeks. The first sign is the unexpected word. Someone, a stranger, a colleague, someone you didn't expect, says something that resonates profoundly, a phrase that seems surgically directed to you. It's not a generic compliment. It's a word that hits the exact point of something you were processing internally. The second sign is the object or memory that reappears, a photo you suddenly find. An object that belonged to a family member that reappears without explanation. A vivid dream with someone who has passed. These are not random events, they are confirmations. The third sign is physical peace. A sensation of warmth, lightness, inner stability that has no logical cause, especially in moments when your external situation hasn't yet changed. Your environment may be chaotic, but internally you feel an anchor. This is the anointing settling in. The fourth sign is the reorganization of your environment, relationships that naturally drift apart or draw closer, opportunities that appear from unexpected angles, the feeling that pieces are moving on the board even though you haven't consciously done anything to move them. The fifth sign, and this is the most powerful, is the authority that emerges spontaneously. You begin to speak and people listen differently. You enter spaces and something shifts. You notice your presence carries a weight it didn't before or that existed but was dormant. These signs arrive with maximum intensity on March 25th and 26th for the chosen ones. And if you are in this video, you are one of them. But I need to tell you something many videos on spirituality avoid. And I will not avoid it here. The calling has a cost. When the anointing activates within you, not everything around you will applaud. Some people will feel uncomfortable with your transformation. Relationships that worked in your previous version may enter tension. Your family may not understand the changes happening. People who knew you in a specific way may resist the new version of you. This doesn't mean you are making a mistake. It means you are growing. Your grandfather likely went through this too. The man who carries something genuine is rarely celebrated in life. He rarely receives the recognition he deserves while still here. But his influence, the seed he planted, continues growing after he departs. You are the proof of that now. And when your time comes, your grandchildren will be the proof of you. There is a question I receive constantly. How do I consciously activate this inheritance? How do I ensure this legacy doesn't fall dormant again? And the answer has 3 levels. The first level is recognition. You must consciously honor those who came before you. This need not be an elaborate ritual. It can be as simple as sitting in silence, closing your eyes, and internally acknowledging, I know I didn't arrive here alone. I recognize the sacrifice, faith, and surrender of those who came before me. I receive this legacy. This act of recognition breaks the cycle of unconsciousness. You transform passive inheritance into active inheritance. The second level is identifying the patterns. You must look honestly at the patterns of your lineage, both those of greatness and those of limitation. What repeats in your family that serves life, and what repeats that drains life? This distinction is crucial because you don't have to carry everything. You have the right and the responsibility to select what you will perpetuate and what you will end within you. The third level is intentional action. Spiritual legacy doesn't sustain itself in theory. It needs expression in the real world. What unrealized potential did your grandfather leave that is waiting for your hands? What project, service, contribution is waiting for you to manifest it? When you act aligned with your purpose, you are not just fulfilling your calling, you are completing his. Now I need to open an important parenthesis because this is a point almost nobody speaks of, and it makes all the difference for chosen ones in the awakening process. There is a subtle trap that appears exactly when the spiritual inheritance begins to activate. I call it the trap of premature grandeur. It's when the person begins to feel the weight of the calling, recognizes the signs, perceives they carry something special, and then, instead of deepening, begins to perform, begins to speak of their calling before living it, begins to position themselves as anointed before undergoing the refinement process the anointing requires. Your grandfather never did that, and that is why what he cultivated arrived intact to you. The great bearers of spiritual legacy I have studied over the years share a common characteristic. They were deeper than they appeared. The root was always larger than what showed at the surface. The internal work always exceeded the external exposure. The world will pressure you to show before being. Social media creates an illusion that public existence is the same as genuine existence. But real legacy is built in the hours nobody sees, in prayers that have no audience, in choices nobody will ever know you made. So as you receive this inheritance and begin to feel it pulsating stronger within you, hold this. The period coming now is not for exposure, it is for consolidation. It is for letting the root deepen before letting the fruit appear. When the fruit appears in the right time, you won't need to convince anyone of anything. It will be evident. There is another element I want to bring into this conversation because it is fundamental to understanding what happens specifically on March 25th and 26th. These dates fall within a period different spiritual traditions recognize as a time of crossing over. In the Christian tradition, this week carries the weight of Holy Week, a period of death, burial, and resurrection. In the Hebrew tradition, the period of Passover celebrates the people's crossing from a state of bondage into a state of freedom. In older traditions, this is the moment of the equinox, when light and darkness balance before light begins to prevail. It is no coincidence that spiritual inheritance activates more strongly in this period. Because crossing over is exactly what happens when you receive a generational legacy. You cross from one version of yourself into another. You cross the boundary between what you were before recognizing your calling and what you become after. And every crossing has a point of no return. When you consciously recognize your grandfather's legacy, when you internally declare you will carry what he left, you cannot pretend you don't know anymore. You cross the boundary, and on the other side of that boundary, life simply is no longer the same. Not dramatically, not necessarily with immediate big external events, but internally, something reorganizes permanently. A clarity that didn't exist before. A direction that was nebulous and now begins to take shape. This is the crossing over. And March 25th and 26th are the portal for this crossing for the chosen ones who are ready. Now I need to speak about something that happens specifically in the body during this activation process. Because spirituality isn't only invisible, it has a physical address. It manifests in matter. Many chosen ones report, in periods of intense activation, very specific physical sensations they don't know how to interpret. A gentle pressure in the chest, as if something is expanding within. A warmth in the hands that appears during prayer or moments of deep intention. A tingling at the crown of the head, some describe as a kind of opening. Dreams with water, rivers, rains, oceans, that arrive with unusual frequency. These are not symptoms of anxiety, though many confuse them. They are physical manifestations of a real spiritual process. The body registers what the spirit is processing, and when the generational inheritance begins to move, the body feels it before the mind can name it. Pay attention to what your body is signaling in this period. It is an instrument more finely tuned than most people imagine, and it is speaking to you now. I want to tell you about a phenomenon I observe repeatedly in people in this process of receiving spiritual inheritance. I call it the meeting dream. It is a specific type of dream, different from common dreams, where you meet someone who has passed. Attention, you need to prepare now. I put together an exclusive resource for those who feel set apart for something greater, but live surrounded by noise, distractions, and mental overload. This is a 30-day journey that will transform your life. A guided path to armor your mind and prepare for what's coming with daily practices of focus, boundaries, and discipline. Stop negotiating with the noise. Learn to spot distractions before they control you. And strengthen your mind. Also available in an immersive audio version. Over 10 Zuru readers have already transformed their lives through the 30-day journey. Thousands of people have already started this transformation. People like you who are tired of living in the fog. Ordinary people who decided to stop accepting mental chaos. Take advantage of this limited time offer only this month. Access your link just below in the pinned comment.